there is a way to do it better. Find it. Powerful yet very simple quote by a man who lived by these words. His ideas were so big and his contribution to the world is so large that they made his lives of people in his time comfortable, and they continue to make our lives comfortable even today. And he was arguably possibly the greatest innovator, the greatest inventor, and one of the most brilliant and savvy businessmen of all time. That person is Thomas Alva Edison. His entrepreneurial genius was seen from quite a young age when, despite coming from a not-so-rich family, having been homeschooled and selling candies and newspapers on a train in order to make his living, he somehow managed to get hold of the exclusive rights to sell newspapers on that train. And he started even printing his own newspaper. Now, he could have been satisfied with just that. He could have been satisfied with just selling that newspaper in that small town and being happy. But no, he went on to several jobs, he got fired from various places, and eventually he landed up impoverished and penniless in the basement of his friend's house. And over there, this was in Newark, New Jersey, he came up with his first great invention that really wowed the world. And that invention was the phonograph. So, all those little MP3s you have on your mobile today, you have Thomas Edison to thank for that. Because the phonograph was the first device that could record sound and play it back. People started calling him the genius of Menlo Park. They were so amazed by it. But he was still not satisfied. He invented something called the quadruplex telegraph. And the quadruplex telegraph made him a lot of money. At that time, it made him $10,000. Western Union bid that when he was expecting just $4,000 for it. And with that money, he started the world's first industrial laboratory at Menlo Park. And from that lab emerged some of the greatest inventions that Edison is known for. The first of them, of course, is this, the light bulb. After experimenting over 10,000 times, he came up with the carbonized bamboo filament between platina wires in a vacuum sealed bulb. People asked him, 10,000 times, how did you manage to get through that? How did you manage failing so many times? He says, I didn't fail, I just found 10,000 ways that wouldn't work. Such is his relentless pursuit of his goals. Having a bulb and not having a socket to plug it in won't work. It won't make the bulb work. So he went on to develop an electrical utility, a company that would supply electricity. At that time there were only gas utilities. And he said, I will make electricity so cheap, only the rich will burn candles after that. And he went on to prove it. His first electrical station came up at Pearl Street, New York. And after that, he went on to set up an electrical empire around the US and on a transatlantic basis in the UK as well. But even that wasn't enough for him. Alexander Graham Bell invented the telephone. He called his assistant into his office. Watson, come into my office. But Thomas Edison said, I hope you haven't forgotten me. And he went on to improve the telephone by separating the speaker and the microphone. So today on your phone, you have a separate speaker and you have a separate microphone. You have Thomas Edison to thank for that. And in the process, he patented a device called the carbon microphone. And the carbon microphone continued to be manufactured all the way into the 1980s. Even that wasn't enough for him. He went on to make advances in the field of fluoroscopy, and his lab produced the first commercially viable X-ray machine. So his electrical company by then, it had merged and it had become a company called General Electric, which continues to be one of the greatest companies in the world today. And it also continues to be a pioneer in the field of medical imaging, which he had developed at that time. And eventually, he even went on to make advances for the financial industry in the form of developing the stock ticker. It was an instant success, and the stock ticker became the rave of the financial industry. Everyone started buying it up. He was an example of the individual capitalist, the man who defined the inventor and also the man who could build companies to sell those inventions to the world. He was the startup king of his time, the serial entrepreneur of his time. What do you learn from the life of Thomas Edison? You learn, at least from my perspective, that it's not just his God-given gifts of intelligence, the courage to take the untrodden path, or his brilliance in terms of his business acumen. You learn that it is what got him where he was the relentless pursuit of his goals. And that is shown even in the various quotes that are attributed to him. One such quote that stays with me is, "It is our greatest failure that we give up. Our greatest failure is that we give up. The most certain path to success is to try just one more time." So, dear Toastmasters guests, my dear friends, try just one more time and enjoy all the success and prosperity that Thomas Edison enjoyed in his life. Thank you so much.
Arun Krishna has enjoyed his journey with Thomas Alva Edison.